This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Hello, everyone. We want to give a quick shout out to our amazing partner, Rilla, the game changer in the home service industry. Rilla's virtual ride-along software means no more physical ride-alongs. With Rilla, you can coach your team virtually 100 times faster and boost your close sale rates like never before. Don't miss out. Join the movement today and watch your sales soar. Visit RILLA.com/PWT to learn more.
Most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
Go ahead. Hey everyone, this is Eric Thomas with Rival Digital, and I am proud to announce that we are the newest sponsor for the Power Women of the Trades podcast. We've been a big fan and supporter of the show for years, and we are just very excited and very honored for the opportunity to now be one of the podcast sponsors. So make sure you check out their page and subscribe to the podcast and listen in on wherever you get your podcast episodes from. Rival Digital is a full-service premier digital marketing agency for the home services industry. We offer everything from website design, search engine optimization, online advertising, public relations, and more. If you're interested in learning more about the services we offer for contractors just like yourself, head on over to rivaldigital.com, and we look forward to chatting with you.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Power Women of the Trades with Cassie and Kailee. Today we have Jessica Azarelo with us she's the Attic Queen. I have to tell you, I was doom scrolling on Facebook or TikTok one day, Facebook. And I'm scroll, and I'm like, who is the Attic Queen? And you pop up. I'm looking, and I sent it to Kailee, and I was like, we have to talk to her. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's really an honor.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that you just came across me. And
yeah, that says the algorithm's working, right? So, because like I said, I feel like, you know how it goes with social media. We all have an audience, and we get in front of people sometimes, and I'm just like, how have I never heard of this lady? So anyways, Welcome to the show. I'm excited to learn all about you. And you know, now you know that your marketing's working for yourself, right?
Great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So Jessica, tell us about yourself and tell us, who is the Attic Queen?
Wow. There's Jessica Azarelo, and then there is the Attic Queen. So basically the Attic Queen is me. I have a very unique story. For 16 years, I worked in corporate America. I did lending and banking, worked for big companies, very super successful, and had some major trials and tribulations of things that had happened to me throughout my life that just kind of ultimately gut punch after gut punch after gut punch. And every day I'm still showing up and smiling and being all that I could be for everybody else. And, you know, what I've learned now, looking back at it, is that we just end up losing ourselves when you have those things happen to you and you don't address them, right? But, I continued working in corporate America after some major health issues and a very traumatic loss in my life. And, this was actually 16 years ago. We're approaching 16 years ago, where it was like a major detrimental thing, where I stayed in corporate for 8 years after. So I've been out for 7, 8 years now. I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, and I ended up knowing I needed to leave. My mom had left Pennsylvania, moved to Florida. The company at the time I was working for, they had offices in 27 different states. And being that we had worked together 13 of my 16-year career, they supported me. They had a branch down about an hour from where she was living. So I ended up just transferring down to Florida. It was like a whole different life, because when I would visit my mom, and in banking and lending, I didn't need to be in a location. So I'm working in Florida. My office is on the water and the sun, and I'm just like feeling differently. So I wanted to move down here. So I had to kind of like start my life over in Florida. And I had gone through, one of the big things, I went through like a really nasty divorce, and everything was in my name. And I like lost, I used to have an 800 credit score that tanked to like the 400s. And it was just hard trying to rebuild myself, and then getting relicensed in Florida when I still had my license in Pennsylvania. And I was just like treading water, and it was just really hard. So finally, I'm still just kind of doing it. And one day I walk into a gym, and I end up meeting this life coach. And at the time I couldn't really afford a life coach. But within 3 weeks of meeting him, I quit my career. I ended up broken homeless. No, it was a crazy story. I ended up going out to Texas with him for an opportunity, which ended up going very wrong. I tried to stay out there to kind of help us. We went out there for a really good opportunity, and, not the right people, kind of shady, but I felt like if I left, there was no way we were hitting goal, and we couldn't come back and come for what, our original plan. But before I had left for this opportunity, I had met the owner of an insulation company in Florida. So he had just started, and I had just quit corporate. So he met me, like, this is like April of 2019, I want to say. So I quit corporate in like February, March of 2019. And then I met him in April. He wanted to hire me. And I'm like, I just took the handcuffs off after working in corporate America. I'm going to be good. So I, 6 months later, leave. I'm out trying to do this other thing. Stuff hits the fan. They end up not paying me and cutting my housing. So now I'm broke and homeless 1,000 miles in Texas. But I was going through like this deep mindset, like, code, like just personal development stuff. I was sleeping on a half broken tanning bed in an abandoned part of a gym. And I have so many videos in my phone of like, I could literally give somebody my phone. I have over 100,000 videos and pictures of me 50 pounds overweight, pimples all over my face, trying to like be this motivational person when I had no right doing so. Right. But I'm just waking up every day and doing what I need to do. I was like, I remember, again, this is like 6 years ago, and I'm like looking at my bank account. I'm like, I got $18. Now, mind you, I used to have 401k, used to have salary, make 6 figures, commissions, had an expense card, had PTO, vacations, all these trips. And now I'm like literally I'm 34 years old, and I'm like, I got $18. Let's go. I need 3 days to pay my car insurance. Like, I lost everything. But what I didn't lose was my sense of drive, that I wasn't, no matter what, I now knew who I was, because I lived my whole life doing everything for everybody else, and I lost myself. Yeah. When you realize you lost yourself and you no longer have anything left in you, and you not even a desire to live, not be suicidal, but I was sick of being sick. I was sick of doctors telling me, you need to be on this medication, that medication, you need to do this. Oh, this is your diagnosis. I didn't want to believe that. I didn't want to take those medications anymore. I didn't want to have those side effects. And I just kind of, unfortunately, left all of that and just really got down to the core root, which was here, when you take all the medication that the doctors are giving you, it masks that. Like, you need to face the reality of your life. And that's when you're either going to sink or swim. And guess what? I've never sunk in my life. I was close to it. I was close to giving up. But when my back was against the wall and I realized nobody was coming to save me.
Yeah.
And what I also realized is that there's no better feeling than when you're alone and everybody that's draining and depleting you and not realizing it, they're not there. You cut the noise, you cut the drama. Mm-hmm. That's when you find out who you are. Yep. That's when you find out, am I going to make it? Mm-hmm. I had no other, like, there is no thought in my mind, even to this day. Like, I always had some kind of burning desire to become something or to do something. And, you know, it was just nuts. So I'm out there doing my thing. It's getting cold in Texas. I didn't even know it got cold. And like, out of the blue, it's the owner of the insulation company that I had met in 6 months before. Hey, how's everything going? I'm like, well, things are, kind of took a turn for the worse, but I'll be fine.
Be better.
Every day. I'm like, where I was living, there was a dollar store. I was living inside of a gym. Like, I ended up getting a job at a failing gym. And they had like 3,000 square feet of like abandoned gym, like everything from like the 70s and 80s, like all supplements, all like pictures, like those cardboard cutouts. I set up the whole abandoned area. I had an office space. I had like a clothing rack. I hung up all my clothes. So I remember at that moment, he called me. He's like, I'm like, well, things kind of took a turn for the worse and I'll be fine. Now he's like, look, my business is exploding. 90% of the people across the country need what we do. So why don't you come back and try it out for 30 days? And at least you're back in Florida. And I mean, I even left my dog with my mom to take care of her, so I'm even alone. Thank God I didn't have the dog. Cause it's like, I can barely, like I said, where I'm living, it was like, there was a dollar store, the gym, which had all my setups, gym, working out, very important. And then there was a church. So literally everything I needed. I was like, all right, I can spend $9 today. I need to make sure I'm getting protein. I'm getting good food. I'm going to the dollar store. I'm going to buy packets of tuna fish. And I'm going to buy, like I'm literally walking next door, buying my food for the day. Then I'm going to the gym. I'm working. Then then I would go to church because like I had to have a belief in something. Like I was raised Catholic. I'm not like hardcore. I'm, not that I'm embarrassed about like not being able to recite the scriptures and the Bible. I love God. I am just, anyway, so I would go to the church. I'm going to the dollar store. I'm working out. I'm training people. I'm doing my motivational videos and writing my goals down and doing all these kind of crazy things. So he calls me and he's like, look, at least you'll be back here. I thought about it and I'm kind of an impulsive person. And within 8 hours, I just packed some bags and I jumped in my car and I drove back to Florida. And I drove right to my life coach's house. I didn't tell anybody I was coming home. I just showed up. I'm like banging at his door at like 11 o'clock at night. And he's like, is this a dream? 2 days later was Thanksgiving. I show up to my cousin's house. It's my second cousin. It's my mom's first cousin. Didn't even tell my mom. I come in. My mom doesn't recognize me, thinks I'm my cousin's girlfriend or something. And I'm like here. So that was Thursday. And then that Monday, it was December 1st of 2019 is when I started working in the insulation industry. So he was a business owner, not a building science man. And again, 90% of the people across the country need insulation. Right? Mm-hmm. So he wanted me to do sales because I was the number one salesperson in the country for Wells Fargo back in the day out of 11,000 people, but I was also a branch manager. So out of 638 stores, I had the number one store. And then I sold, that's how I got my team producing. I took over this branch. It was 633 out of 638. And I was working in New Jersey and I got a call from the VP and he's like, hey, there's an opening in, it was like, I was living in Pennsylvania. So I was commuting to New Jersey. And then there was another branch, same commute, but in Pennsylvania. He's like, it's a very big opportunity. We need you to go in there, fire everybody and start over. I kept everybody. it was like a little mini Wall Street West. It was like a mini call center. So they get somebody on the phone. They're like snapping. I'm running over. I'm filling their deals. I'm getting the credit card. Hand the phone back off. Docs out to the customer. I'm handling mine. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
So I had a great sales ability and he wanted me to do sales. And he's like, it's straight commission, which I'm not afraid of, especially when 90% of people need this product, right? It's like no brainer. We have unlimited leads. I could bang out, after I started eventually doing sales, I could do anywhere from 6 to 10 estimates in a day. So he's like, it's straight commission. If you go through the ceiling, I'll pay for the first one, but everyone after that, you got to pay $250 for a drywall repair. Now, again, this is like 5-6 years ago. And I'm like, I wish drywall repairs were $250 now, by the way. But anyway, we don't have a lot of them. So I declined. And I'm like, I am very clumsy. I'm like a bull in a china cabinet. I'm not going to be able to afford to work here. I'm going to be going through ceilings. I've never been in an attic before. When I was 24, I built my own house and my electric bill, this was in like 2006 or 7. My electric bill was $800 in 2000. I don't know how my house got a C of O, but I'm positive I didn't install the insulation. And that's why my electric bill was $800 a month. Mind you. So again, I had even built a house and I didn't install insulation.
Right.
So I'm like, it's a male dominated industry. I'm clumsy. I'm not going to be able to afford these repairs. And I'm a woman, like nobody's going to trust me. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I started working in the office, making $300 a week and just listening to him, talking to people on the phone. He had like thousands of like receipts that he just threw in a box. I'm trying to organize the office, then taking care of like, he'd go out all day and then there would be like 40 missed phone calls. So then I'm like calling, returning phone calls because he would spend like 15 grand a month on advertising. So he was getting a lot. Anyway, so I'm just kind of like, again, I'm used to working in corporate and whatever would need to get done, it's just going to get done. That's just what it was. So I had a clean driver's license and it would start with 5:20 in the morning. We had to be at the shop at like 5. The installers had to be at the shop at like 5 o'clock. 5:20, my phone's ringing. So-and-so didn't call out. I'll pay you an extra $150. I need you to drive the truck, fill the hopper, collect the payment, whatever you need. Hey, we did 6 removals this week and nobody's gone to the dumpster. Do you think you can drive the 26-foot box truck and get these bags off? Now, these bags are 4 feet long. 4 feet wide by 6 feet tall. I'm 5'1". And at the time I was like chubby. I was like almost 150. Whatever you need. So I'm like literally like whatever. I was an athlete all my life and I'm just having fun. Now I'm getting paid an extra $50. So, I went from making $300 a week to now it's like 700, 800. Now again, I'm used to 6 figures a year. I'm going through all my stuff right now. And I'm just like shredding all these documents. I found my W-2 from 2015. I made $105,000 11 years ago. My W-2 this year as a business owner is like $39,000. I don't pay myself a lot, because now I don't need to. I invest everything back into my business. So, then I'm starting to like get more responsibilities, people calling out. Then COVID hits and we were running for like 1 to 2 trucks a week. It's like,
I was going to say and then COVID. Yep.
Yeah. Now it was kind of like a gray area with the lockdown of everything, of not being able to like go out. But we were like, oh, right. We're an essential business in theory, right? Everybody's stuck at home and 90% of people, like they only have like in Florida, back in 2019, the building code was R19, which was about 6 inches of insulation. Now, back in the day, how they used to manufacture, let's just say fiberglass, for example. If you can envision, all right, since we're all girls here, and you guys have straight hair, maybe you on the right, Kailee, maybe but those girls with like the beautiful loose curls, right? So figure that's the old school fiberglass, how the fibers were more of a looser curl. So typically within 20 years, you lose 50%. So back in the day, they would start with 6 inches. And then because of how the fibers would break down over time, most homes only have about 3 inches of insulation. So they come in and they change the building code. I believe it was maybe 2014. And they said, whoa, it's super hot in here. We need to change the building code from R19 to R30, doubling it. So then they start, now how they manufacture it is the curls. We've got those girls with the super tight curls, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the fiberglass they're installing, it doesn't, the fibers don't break down. It kind of like lasts longer. So we're kind of like a gray area of getting lumped in under essential workers and helping people that are stuck in their house. They're all uncomfortable. Their air conditioning's failing because they don't have enough insulation. 60% of your electric bill is like your AC. So again, we're in Florida and we have winter like 3 weeks out of the year. And every other time it's like AC's ablazing. So I then become a team lead. And I remember it was 6:30 in the morning and we had to do a removal. And I knock on the door. I said, good morning. My name is Jessica. And I'm here to remove your insulation. It was like this 70 or 80-year-old couple. So cute. They're like, you? And I'm like, yes. And let me tell you, my favorite chore at home is to vacuum, and ain't nobody going to vacuum your attic better than me. Let me tell you, you're getting paid to like exercise. I'm not even kidding you. So again, I'm 40 pounds overweight. There is no better thing than going in 150 degrees and having to maneuver your body in all these like crevices and cracks. And like, you're like digging in there, right? And then you're just coming out. Like, I remember I'd be just covered in disgust and sweat, just ripping that mask off. And they're just like,
what in the world?
There's
That's
kids
awesome.
watching you. And it's just like, and I'm running circles because again, I'm getting paid to exercise, and this is great. So I attribute me then going into sales because of COVID, because my biggest thing was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to afford because I'm going to break all these ceilings. I didn't break one ceiling. Like, I'm good at this. And the people love me. And I'm starting to look real good. So I then started selling, and then I just turned into a sales machine. So I'm selling top offs to everybody. I'm like, oh, add insulation and let's install a solar attic fan and blah, 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 blah. And I'm selling minimum $18,000 a week, sometimes almost as high as $50,000 in 1 week. Now, this is for a small business. So it totally transformed his whole company. I remember in like a 6 or 7 week span, I sold over $165,000, and he bought a McLaren. And I felt proud to know that I paid for a man's McLaren. Rightfully so, it's fine.
Right.
So I was working for him for about a year, and it got to the point he was not good with people. And I was now, again, I used to run the #1 branch for a Fortune 9 company. And I'm now the liaison. I'm the lead salesperson. People are calling out. I'm making sure the trucks are getting there. I'm sometimes like on a Saturday going in on the team and helping them with extractions. I just loved it. I remember it was Labor Day, I did a post where we started selling so much insulation that we needed to get our blow delivered by the truckload. So in order to do so, we needed to build a ramp. So I have a post where I'm just, I don't know, I'm covered in like mud and disgust. It was like a big rainstorm. And it's like caption, what my friends are like, oh, come out. What are you doing on Labor Day? And it's like a picture of everyone partying. And then it's like me, labor. And I've never done it before, but I made the concrete ramp on Labor Day weekend so we could have blow delivered by the truckful, because they would leave the whole thing, whatever the trailer is that was there, So I'm just really just loving it. I'm pouring everything into this business, and I'm pretty much like his right hand. He's doing whatever. He's not having to worry about the installers, worrying about the customers and all of that. And I'm just like, oh, this is great. So I find out it's almost a year that I was working for him, and I end up realizing, I'm like, you know what? This is a really great industry. I want to stay in here. So I find out about a training, and it was about 4 hours away, and it was a month in advance. I'm like, hey, they have this training. And I sent it to him, and it was mostly on spray foam, but it had some fiberglass training in there. But it was the first time I had ever seen any kind of an insulation training. And I'm like, I want to go. Now, we didn't even do spray foam. So also in the back of my mind, I'm thinking maybe he'll allow us to then start going into spray foam. So, but
Right.
that was only the thought in the back of my mind. All right. So he tells me yes. A couple days before the training, the girls in the office start scheduling me inspections. And I'm like, hey, I'm in Jacksonville. And they're like, well, you might want to give him a call. He's in one of his moods. And I'm like, hello, what's going on? He's like, well, I decided that if you go to this training, it's not going to be a good opportunity. I don't think you should work here. So basically, go to this training, I'm going to fire you. Now, again, I was running everything and he had his thing. So he would always say one thing and do another.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he was going to fire me. I went to the training, didn't really have a job. And that training totally changed my life because 400 million people Googled, is my house making me sick? And what I realized is that even though he wasn't doing a bad job, he wasn't doing it right, and he knew nothing about building science. He was a businessman. Anybody can take this industry, if you could answer the phone, if you can get out and do an inspection or send an estimate, get the truck there, collect the money. When you have a problem, you handle it. You handle it as best as you possibly can. You make sure you always have materials, whatever. You could essentially run a good business, right? But what that training did for me, and again, the fact that 90% of people, no matter where you are, need this. And you have utility companies saying, here's free money that's going to come off of your bill for you to just add insulation, the easy thing.
Right.
When I take this training and I realize we're doing things wrong. Like I said, I would sell, blow insulation and then add a solar attic fan. Well, guess what? Now you're adding mechanical, you're mixing ventilation. I have so many certifications now. I know too much and it drives me nuts.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.